a lot of bad press for shoulders, yeah, and maybe some of you can do butterflies, you experience that yourself. I will say this, you've already noticed that the kip is, we place a lot of significance on the kip, okay? The kip is the basis for all your advanced elements of the bar, whether they be toes to bar, butterfly pull-ups, all that kind of business, all right? So the reason we use a kip is because, one, it allows you to relax and reset the bottom, right? We have relaxed shoulders, which all of you guys do now. And two, it adds energy to the movement, right? One of the reasons it adds so much energy to the movement is because, especially in your kipping pull-up, for example, here's your head, right? Here's your arch, here's your hollow. Okay? Essentially what your kip should look like. The reason that it adds so much energy is because the kip essentially changes the trajectory of your pull. Okay? For the most part, everybody is stronger in a row than they are in a vertical pull, right? Unless you're a freak, which, you know, we have a few of those friends who just, for some reason, are super strong in a vertical pull. So, when we do our kipping pull-up, what happens is, again, essentially that position is slightly changed because the head will drop back. So now your pull is up and forward, okay, which is generally where we're stronger. Again, the one thing that makes us better is, in your case, that tension, right? The tension is always going to make you feel better. So this is how you maintain a kipping pull-up, right? The kipping pull-up, essentially, as we approach the bar, ideally, you should stay high. Okay? Why? Because what happens is, as you come back down, you leave the feet out in front so you can return to that kip, right? Same thing you just did in your bar muscle, exactly the same. When you came through to here, essentially you went to here, right? Hollow, 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 feet back in front, kip. That's how you maintain that rhythm, okay? And keeping it up, down. The difference between your kipping pull-up and a butterfly is that the end position is different. In the kipping pull-up, right, we maintain that hollow at the top. You actually have to pull all the way to the bottom. Hollow, boom, or the slight pike, whatever. Okay. Again, I want you to take note of the angle of the athlete's body or the stickman's body. Okay. From here, the difference between that and the butterfly is that at the end of your butterfly pull-up, you release the hips and chest. Okay. So you get more this position. Right? The cool thing about this is that because of the angle of the athlete's body, when you've got tension, the release of the hips and chest allows you to move up and forward. So it actually aids your pull-up. As to where with the kipping pull-up, you have to pull all the way up. In the butterfly, you can actually stop short of the full rep because the opening or release of the hips and chest gives you the rest of that rep. Okay? This is why when you watch Camille specifically, she's a wonderful person to watch with her butterflies, why she gets to re-grab on every rep and she relaxes her shoulders as she passes. Because generally what happens is you are now moving up and forward, and then from there, right, your body, because of gravity, will naturally pass down and forward. So you don't have to work on the way past the bar. The reason we get a lot of bad press with the butterfly, and rightfully so, is that you get people who have a poor kipping pull-up, so you have essentially broken hips, right? So here, they're still doing a vertical pull. When they release the hips, because the torso is vertically aligned as opposed to being hollow and slightly angled, when they release the hips and chest, whoa, out in front. So you get that kind of position, right? Right here, shoulder problem, okay? Imagine, think about that. You are on the bar, okay? And this is why I hate that feel, pop your hips. Because sometimes, yes, it is very much correct, but if the direction is wrong, it is going to be really bad for you, okay? So again, when you have someone who's got a poor kipping pull-up, they're generally going to have a poor butterfly. They might be able to do it for a little bit, but you'll see after a while, they won't be able to do a kipping pull-up anymore. The rhythm will always be off, and then after a while, shoulders, right? Because think about it. You're here, you pull, pop your hips, boom, okay? I want everyone to stand up for a second, okay? Like we did that stretch in the wall. Okay, so arms up, and I want you to rotate externally as hard as possible. Hold it. How's that feel? So awesome, right? Imagine holding your body on the bar while doing that. Okay? So again, you can kind of already feel why it creates that problem. So what's nice about this, Again, everybody today, because of what you did in the bar muscle up, your kip is already improved. So what you get is you get kip, right? So we go kip, up and forward. We get up and forward, boom, down and forward, anticipate the kip. Kip, 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 kip. Okay? So, remember how we talked about that box? Small box. Okay? Here, you've got generally figure 8. Bigger box. What does that mean? Bigger ankles, more time spent at the bottom, more pain in the shoulder, hence not as efficient. Okay, it'll work, don't get me wrong. I work with a bunch of athletes who do their butterfly pull-up this way. Alright? Problem is, not as efficient, not as powerful, they have to work much more. Here, nice tight positions, reduction of ankles, much smaller box, much faster rep cycle. Yeah? You understand that? So, a couple ways to work this. Take a bar.